The analysis of MS-MLPA data with Cofalizer.net follows for a great part the same steps as the copy number analysis. There are a few differences though that have to be taken into account. In this video I will demonstrate how to analyze MS-MLPA data in Cofalizer.net. First, open organization and project to which the experiment has to be added. When desired, you can add a new organization or project first. In that case, note that you have to add a CE device to this new organization. For instructions, please refer to the Cofalizer.net reference manual or knowledge base on the support portal. Now we right-click on Experiments and select Add Experiment. We enter a title in the designated field. I recommend giving your experiments logical names, so you can easily retrieve them later on. Check if the correct CE device is pre-selected. If not, you can pick the correct device from the drop-down list. Click OK to continue. We can proceed with the setup of our experiment. As experiment type, we select DNA MS-MLPA from the upper drop-down menu, which is required for the analysis of MS-MLPA data. Based on the selected CE device, Cofalizer.net predicts which dye channels contain the MLPA amplicons and size standard. If needed, you can overrule this by selecting the correct type from the drop-down menus in the column Channel Type. In our experiment, the correct dye channels were already set, so we can now select the required Cofalizer sheet by opening the sheet library via this button and picking the correct sheet from the list. If the appropriate sheet is not listed yet, you first have to add it to the sheet library. Please see the reference manual or the knowledge base if you don't know how to do this. Next, we select the size standard that we used in the electrophoresis from the drop-down menu. As we are done in the tab Details, we can continue to the tab Fragment Analysis. Here, we can import the raw data files into the experiment by right-clicking on the form and selecting Add from File from the context menu. After navigating to the location of the files, we select them all and click Open. When the import has finished, click OK and Close to proceed. Now that all samples have been imported, we need to define the sample type for each one of them. To do so, click in the column Sample Type, expand the list and select the appropriate sample type. Note that all samples to which the restriction enzyme HHA1 was added should be defined as digested sample. This also applies to the digested counterparts of reference and positive control samples. We therefore set these as digested sample as well. The no DNA samples should be defined as no DNA, even if the restriction enzyme was added. We can now click the Start Fragment Analysis button. We leave all settings on default and start the actual analysis by clicking OK. It is mandatory to create a manual bin set based on your data and use this during fragment analysis. More about this can be found in the Cofalizer.net reference manual or in the knowledge base. In this case, I have already created the manual bin set. We can apply it to our data by clicking the Start Fragment Analysis button once again. Check if the probe recognition method is set to manual. Otherwise, select it from the drop-down menu and click OK. During fragment analysis, Cofalizer.net assesses the quality of the raw data. The results of this evaluation are summarized in two main quality scores, the FRSS and FMRS. The FRSS indicates the quality of the electrophoresis, and the FMRS is a measure for the quality of the MLPA experiment itself. Only samples with 4 green bars for both of these quality scores should be used for further analysis. If a sample does not show 4 green bars for the FRSS or FMRS, You can examine the peak pattern to determine why it has a lower score. To do so, right-click on the sample and select Open. You can use the MLPA troubleshooting wizard to assist you with troubleshooting. We can continue the analysis by opening the tab Comparative Analysis. Here we first have to match the digested samples to their undigested counterparts. This can be done by clicking in the column Digested and selecting the appropriate digested sample. It might be good to know that Coverlyzer.net has a function to link digested and undigested samples automatically. To use this function, right-click in the experiment form, open the submenu Digested Samples for MS-MLPA and then select Match Sample Automatically. Note that this only works when the names of the undigested samples and their digested counterparts are similar, and in which the only difference is, for instance, an U in the name of the undigested sample and a D in the name of the digested sample. We can now select the samples that should be included in the analysis. You can do this manually, but Coverlyzer.net also enables you to easily select samples with a certain fMRS score at once. Right-click in the experiment form, navigate to the submenu Select Samples for Analysis and pick an fMRS score from the list. After selecting the samples, click the button Start Comparative Analysis. Again, all settings should be left at their default values. Click OK to proceed. Once finished, Coverlyzer.net displays the quality scores related to the comparative analysis. The CAS score is the most important one, as it indicates the quality of the data normalization. Only the results of samples with a CAS score of 4 green bars can reliably be interpreted. Now that Coverlyzer.net has finished the comparative analysis, we can view the results by right-clicking in the experiment form and selecting Open Experiment Results from the context menu. This opens a window with a grid showing the results of all samples. When desired, you can examine the results of a particular sample in more detail. Right-click on the sample and select Open Sample Results. You can view the results of other samples by scrolling through the list on the left side of the screen. If you want to create a PDF report, you can do so from the tab Sample Report. Right-click in the grid and select Create PDF Report. To generate reports of all samples at once, select Create PDF Reports All Samples. In this video, we will make a report of the selected sample only. Navigate to the location where you want to save the report and click Save. Consult the most recent product description and the MS-MLPA General Protocol for the detection and quantification of DNA sequences and methylation profiling for interpretation of the results. In addition, see the Coverlyzer.net reference manual and the applicable e-learning module for more information about the display of results in Coverlyzer.net and interpretation. Close the sample and experiment results to return to the experiment form. Click Save and Close to save the experiment and the analysis results.